So in this book, Chris places, I think, nearly 300 African proverbs alongside biblical scripture. And that's not to necessarily blur the differences, but to illuminate their similarities. And he talks about from African expressions of the golden rule to loving one's enemies to the wisdom of losing your way and to find your way, and to this really powerful idea of Sankofa, which means to go back and get it.
And they were just really remarkable, and it gave me a format to work with, and the idea of the book sort of gelled then. I started out with about a half dozen African proverbs that really reminded me of scripture verses, and just took off from there.
So you compared, I don't know, nearly 300 of these proverbs with biblical verses. What surprised you the most in the parallels that you found?
There are beautiful uses of metaphor and paradox. Um, for example, compassion is a well, a Swahili proverb. What does that
Compassion is
mean?
a
It's
well.
a well that the whole community can draw from, that is available to all, that is self-replenishing, right? I imagine it doesn't say that. It ends with compassion is a well. Um, but you can imagine what it may have meant to speakers, to the community. That's a beautiful metaphor for a way of thinking about compassion. Um, um, the African American writer Toni Morrison has commented that like Western stories have a sort of a just so ending, and that's the way it is. And she points out that African stories are kind of more open ended, and I think that applies to the proverbs as well. It's like, how do you apply them in this situation? What are all its possible meanings? So the metaphors, the paradoxes really help instill that the wealth that enslaves is not wealth. The
Ooh, I
wealth that
like that one.
enslaves, it's about things owning you,
Yeah.
right? That's
Like our,
your own.
like my iPhone, right?
Right, exactly. So it's like, and that's just so profoundly true, and yet I love, it's a beautiful use of paradox. And you pointed out one a few minutes ago. There are, like, the Swahili and Sukuma peoples in Tanzania have similar proverbs. Losing the way is one way of finding it, which is almost a koan. It's a paradox about um, patience, trusting. It's letting your mistakes be your teacher, to learn the landscape as you are finding your way. You have lost your way, but you're finding it. You trust that you're finding your way. Um, there are arresting constructions